Okay, hey everyone, how you doing? We're here to talk today about the mobile SDK for Windows apps. So this is something that I'm heavily involved in. My name's Warren Simonson, I'm an integrator from Australia. And this is a real passion of mine, this. So I'm not a Citrix, I'm just an integrator in some ways, but a hobbyist would be a better way of calling me. And I love using this SDK. So a lot of people are talking to me these days about how do we mobilize Windows applications. And we talk most importantly about, do we go iOS, Android, how much is it going to cost? Well, what we did in the last sort of couple of years is we've talked to customers about let's avoid these iOS guys and the Android guys, and let's see if we can mobilize using what you own already. So if you own Citrix Zen App or Zen Desktop already, you can actually use this application or this SDK right now. The product itself is actually called HDX Sense. It's built into the Citrix product from Zen App 5 up and from Zen Desktop 5.6 onwards. It's a great tool to look at your current workforce, look at your current apps and get them up and mobilized as quick as you can. So what we're going to look at real world cases, and that's what's important. All this fluff that people do and just show you sort of demos and oh yeah, that's sort of where we're looking. This is real world. And so that's what I'm proud of, that we've done this. Okay, so the SDK, and I'm hoping my little clicker's going to work. There we go. Okay, so HDX Mobile is the technology, as I said, and we're going to present to you today a real-world case on a mining site. So the overview of HDX, as I said, is very simple. It's built into the Zen App product and the Zen Desktop product, and what it allows us to do is essentially take a tablet, a mobile device, something like that, take your Windows application and publish it on that forefront. The key there is that you then get the elements of the of the mobile device. The keyboard, the orientation, you can move it around. But have you ever tried to publish a desktop on those devices? Terrible, isn't it? It's awful. So what we want to do is take the desktop away, but still keep the features of things like the picker, as they say, the pull-down boxes, the keyboard, etc. And we want to go one step further, and this is where I get excited. Within your native device of your mobile phone, you can use things like the GPS, the camera, the telephone. All of those elements are there. And that's what makes this SDK fantastic. You can essentially rework your app. So if you've got in-house apps that you've got your developers in there, they can look at this and they can say, well, let's look at firstly just skinning the app and setting it up for a mobile experience. But let's go one step further. What else can we do with it? So that's where HDX Sense comes in, and its buddy being the mobile SDK for C#, C++, and various other platforms. Okay, so this is the example I'm going to talk about today. Now, there's lots of writing here. I don't want you to read it because I hate reading stuff like that. But these slides will be available, and the video will be available on YouTube as well. So you can go back and look at this. But the situation here, a customer was talking to me one day, they want to mobilize. And what they had is a punch card system. Now this one's been talked about a lot. I had another one called Care Assist, which was an earlier exchange. Again, look that one on YouTube as well. But the customers said we've got a real problem with mobile workers. So this is a mining site in Australia. And what they wanted to do, at the moment, they had a big Zen App farm. Their miners went to a mining site, could have been kilometres away, miles away, so I'm in America, so I've got to say miles. So they went off-site, they logged in using their device, and they move on. The back-end system was an SAP system, an existing SAP. So really all they were doing was logging into Zen App and then logging into Zen App front end. Pretty easy, but on a mobile device, ordinary, real terrible. They couldn't do it. So our first challenge was to get that front end, and all they really had to do was clock in. That was the key, just a timekeeper. I'm clocking in. We used the SDK to make a new front end that connected to their existing back end. There was no infrastructure change. They looked at iOS coders, they looked at all of the Android coders. Wow, the cost was going to be big, big, big. So they said, how can we use existing technology? I don't want to change back-end databases or infrastructure. I don't want to open new ports because I've got to open some sort of MDM structure. So we had a real good look into it, and we said, well, we can just make a new front end, easy. But what we then found out, they were actually rolling out new devices as well. BlackBerry was dead. They couldn't do that anymore. They didn't want to do that anymore. So they thought about which device can we go, and they decided on a mix because they got a special deal from Android phones. They got a special deal with iOS phones. So we said, well, let's make this app one app for any device. And you know the Citrix message, isn't it? Any. And that's what we had to focus on. But we went one step further. We started looking at this, and we looked at how the employees work. And that's what a good integrator or a good person who develops will actually do. They'll look that one step further. They'll get that inch more to get value for you. And we said, hang on a minute. We actually realised, and we found this out through various, the HR department, that the guys that turn up at the mining site and they clock in, and instead of going down the mines, they go off to the pub. And when they finish, they come back and they clock back in. There's my day done. Productivity wastage, massive. So they asked, well, we came together. We came together with the companies. They said, how can we watch these people? We've got a massive HR issue. And I think it was not long after that one of their workers actually injured themselves in the pub and was able to sue the company successfully to get, you know, because, hey, they were still on the job, man, yeah. So we said, how about using maybe the GPS and tracking that employee? So when they clock in, let's pull that GPS information out of that phone and let's put it into the database as well. So into the SAP database existing already, we said, let's create two fields. Let's put in the GPS information there, longitude and latitude. Easy. We didn't have to do much. That was real easy. So that was a situation that we used, a big mining site saying, let's do this. We got excited. We said, what a great example. That is fantastic. So we went a little bit beyond. So we talked about the solution. We had Citrix NApp, fantastic. But we went one step beyond, going beyond the solution. That's what you want out of a developer. And if you've got them in-house, get onto this stuff and learn about it and understand it, be a part of it, because it's got so much power. We said, we're going to go one step further. Why? Because what happened was we were tracking GPS coordinates. So what would happen is there would be, say, 5 workers turn up at the mine site. They allocated one guy, here's my mobile phone. You press it, we're off to the pub. So I could not bypass human nature. So one guy's got 5 mobile phones going, yep, clock in. So we said, let's go one step further. What's a mobile device got? It's got a camera on board, native. So we're using native elements here. So we said, let's go down and let's get a picture of these guys as well. And let's make them stand on a location with a background that says the company's name, making sure that it might have coordinates, whatever. But it was not only giving GPS, but it was giving a photo as well. Again, going into the database. We could track these guys consistently. So we came up with this. Face Punch, a very, very, very simple application. So simple, in fact, it didn't replace the SAP at all. It was simply their mobile option when they published. So when they published their timesheet, we just got a simple front end. Windows-based written. This one's written in C++, C# you can do as well, as I said. And we sort of did a Metro theme. They sort of liked the Metro theme for some reason. They didn't want the iOS look. But we did the Metro theme where we could take the photo. We could then embed, whoops, let's go back one. I'll go back there. We could then embed the actual information in there and verify the location. And as soon as that location wasn't verified, the alarm would hit on the system, essentially back to HR, and they would be onto that worker. There was one other option we had with this as well. Not only could we use the current location of the GPS, but we could also ensure if that miner went down the actual hole then, and they're miles down, we then just say, random check, punch in now. So if they did go to the pub, because you think, well, they can still go to the pub after they punch in. No, if they're down the hole, then they've got to, random check, punch in now. They've got to go back in and punch in. So GPS coordinates again. So mining sites, if you don't know, have massive infrastructure of wireless structure down underground, and so they can do that. So we use those elements, the GPS, the video, and you can use video as well, you can use photos. So I'll go the right way this time. Okay, so really simple, the simple structure. This was the front end they started with. They actually touched. It says tap here for photo. They touched there. It would then bring up and say, hold the camera up to your face. They would then take the photo, and it would, as it took the photo, I can do 2 ways of getting GPS location out of the SDK. I can extract it from the photo through EXIF data, or I can take it directly from the GPS. Okay? In this case, if you get it directly from the GPS, you've got to give permission. Okay? That's nothing we can do at all in the SDK, because that's an iOS and an Android thing. iOS is a little more flexible, but privacy. Okay, so that's why I actually extract most of the data out of the EXIF. Okay, it's much, much firmer. Once we got that information, it would process, it would put the longitude and latitude in there, and put the photo, all this information not stored on any device at all. This is all back at the SAP backend. That's what I love. We didn't put anything at all on this local device. And so we can make that call and we're done. Oh, we're going through the slide again. Yeah, pop through. Okay, so the code, and this is where we love the bit about the code. How hard was that to code? Well, in this case, this is actually looking at taking the picture. This is a snippet of code from the SDK to take the picture. And it's very, very simple. You don't really need to understand code. I used to be a school teacher of a woodshop. So you treat it like it is just very straightforward. It is a process. And think about this. Citrix, when you use Citrix on, say, a standard desktop, you open a channel to get to the mouse and the keyboard. You're opening a virtual channel. This is what you're doing here. So it's very simple. We're opening a channel, the CMP. It's a Citrix Mobility Pack once upon a time, but it changed to this new name. So it still uses CMP, but we initialize the channel. We then open the channel. We open it, see if it's successful to open that channel. If it's not successful, obviously it's going to drop out. But then one simple command, CMP take picture. And the other command, if you want to get the EXIF data, is capture picture, CMP capture picture. That simple call allowed me to grab that picture and take it straight up to the server. A simple copy command essentially is what you do. You do use a local SD card, or a storage device just for that millisecond while you take that photo. But calling that call brings the local native camera up. It's as simple as that. So simple commands allow me to do simple things. And you bring up a code. Now, I was asked this morning in a session that I did, well, what if I've got a very old app and I don't have the code for it? Well, we really can't help you there. But what I said to him is, what about this? Why don't you code an app that uses the SDK at the start that determines whether you're a local Windows old style machine or whether you're using the receiver? And I didn't really mention that. The receiver is the key here. The receiver is what's on your device. And so I said to him, very simple. Publish an app that first checks what receiver's on there. And you can determine from the receiver whether it's iOS or Android or Windows. From there, if it's Windows and it's an old app, then jump to the old GUI. But if it's new, it's a fresh GUI. Because your back-end data, I keep pushing that, your back-end data is the key. You're only giving a front end. All right? And that's the excitement about this, that you can actually turn around and say, hey, I still got my back-end data, I still got my back-end app. And if you really want to, you could reskin your front app for Windows as well. If you really want to get excited, you just take out the features. Okay, so that's what I said to him. All you've got to do is publish it and then use a little bit of code from the SDK, and you've got to just check that device. Now, all my code is freely available from my website. It's all going to be posted also on the CDN. The new CDN is going to post all of my examples. Face Punch, Care Assist, and I've got a few other examples as well. So if you've got coders there now, go to the CDN site, 100%. You'll see the code, you'll see great examples from Citrix Labs and the developer network, and it is so easy to pick up. It really is. So again, we look at the location API and another bit of code. Now, in terms of location, we actually use the Windows SDK for this. It's got nothing to do at all with the actual structure of the Citrix structure. So all we have to do is enable the location structure on XenApp, and we can use the Windows SDK. Really simple, real simple call. This one's a bit more technical to look at, but it's still two calls at the end of the day. And the two calls are simply here. Report the latitude and longitude. Real simple. Extract that, and you can see I just put in a string, and I just format the string to make it look readable. Okay? Put it in decimal format. It's up to you. You can put it any way you want. As I said, all of this information, develop a website. It's free from my point of view. I will continue to always give this away for free. These are working examples within customer sites. I strip out obviously the important data, and I allow you guys to see what's there, and that's what's important. We share. Share the code, share it up on CDN. I think it's going to be a fantastic way of doing things. So have a think about it. As I said, it's the Windows SDK, the mobile SDK for Windows apps, and that's really important. Launch the whereabouts is it? Hang on, kill that. Bottom right. Hang on, right hand. That one? That it? Going. There we go.
And then just for the video, show people how to walk through. You'll right with the show where you're stuck in the
Okay, so do I know this?
stand over here.
Okay, so basically this is brand new, by the way. It's only got launched the other day. And
On first day Synergy.
first day Synergy. So ideally, one of the things that I actually liked about it straight away is I could see which product I was interested in. And that was important to me to be able to say, okay, which products do I go to? Is there a quicker way to go to the elements than that?
Receiver, right? Mobile SDK. So just click on storefront receiver.
Which is there. Yep.
All right. And you should be able now to scroll down.
Yep.
That's under Zen Mobile, right, John? Here, we go back. We switched it the wrong way. So we come in and we go to Zen Apps.
That's the one. Yeah, I was
right.
going to say, yep.
And then right here.
Yeah. So
Be your stuff. So then you're going to get kind of an overview of all the stuff going on here.
that's right. Now you should always just have if you've got a current Citrix username password, you can use it quite happily.
Right. And then down here is where the documentation for the normal, where you'll find Warren stuff, is
Yeah.
you click on the exchange form and we take you right into the exchange form.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
For this, and you'll see right here, we've already got a series of examples, and Warren stuff, if it's not here already,
Yep.
will be added.
Yeah, there's stuff there. I know that already. There's the face punches there. So yeah, absolutely. There's
Right now it has my name on it, just for different reasons.
Yeah.
We're going to be putting it back where it belongs.
What's good about this site, but, and this is what I've liked about, the Citrix Labs, the CDN, they respond to you when you put something up there, and they respond to you quickly. You don't wait, and I shouldn't pick on the other sites of Citrix, but you don't wait days and days and days. You will have an answer back very quickly, and it won't just be a yes or no. It'll be, well, here's a little bit of code that might help you. And I've sent many examples in where I just can't get code working, and we all know you might put a backslash instead of a forward slash, and you can't see it, it's midnight, you really can't see it. They'll come back and say, simple mistake, you did that. Or it could be complex. And they say, yeah, we know where you're going with that, so try that out for size.
That's part of the community aspect, and Warren himself is one of the moderators in this Citrix forum.
Yeah.
So we're looking to promote people like Warren, who are actually the real SMEs in these spaces, to help us grow the community because it helps promote directions.
Yeah, so it's great. As I said, we did a session this morning. We had a lot of people. We did a live session and go to booth 15 up at the Citrix area there. They've got a live example of Care Assist as well as Face Punch, and as well as hosted mobile mail. That's a big one, and all written with the SDK. And you can see these things live in action, and it's great to see them live, not just chatter. But this morning was wow. The Twitter feed was huge. How many people? I used SMS to call it, to basically SMS a doctor about a patient to send the photo, and people were wow, and the Twitter feed was huge. So thanks for coming along. That's great.
One other thing I want to mention, and John, is this on? Yeah.
Yeah, that's on.
Because I think this session is going to be very popular on the YouTube site, so I want to leverage it to show one other thing to be very helpful. One of the other problems we've had with the community in the past is the ability to quickly get a My Citrix ID, so you can download things. If you log in and you do everything properly, you get asked, go find the guy who owns your corporate ID and get it from him.
That's it.
So one of the key changes we've made on the site now is if you hit from the Citrix developer site, develop account, we literally tell you how to legally cheat. And every developer out there now, whether it's in your organization, an independent entrepreneur, we tell them just enter dev, first name, last name, as the actual company name, which probably is unique. We've actually gotten permission to tell you how to cheat, right out on the site. So now, anybody can go out, and we're not restricting the developers. A lot of times developers had great ideas to go out and use an SDK, and they got blocked by being able to download things.
Absolutely.
So we've worked it out now that you can go out and innovate much more quickly.
Dev John Doe, that's excellent. That's a great feature. From our point of view, that's a great feature to get people online.
And that's what we're trying to promote, and that's why I wanted to bring it up in your session as well.
Absolutely. So well done to CDN, and thanks for coming along. Thanks, guys. Well done, mate. Thank you. I didn't know all that.